been a minute since we've done one of these Monday shows following a Lions loss. TJ Lang in studio.
Sad Monday.
I know.
Yeah,
how does this work?
It's been a while.
You guys call and yell and complain and we fire coaches? Is that what happens after losses?
No.
No.
We call and yell, but no.
12-2. Still in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. But TJ, like, that defense was bad. Let's just start. What did you take out of that game?
You know what? And the offense was bad early, too. I mean, you had 14 points until 2 minutes left in the third quarter, in a shootout. So, both sides. I mean, I think I learned yesterday that you can't – we've seen them have a couple duds this year, right? I think the Houston game was a bit of a dud offensively, but you were good enough to beat that team. Even Thanksgiving – a little bit of a dud against Chicago with all the failed red zone trips. But your team was good enough to beat them. I think obviously yesterday we learned you can't afford to have a dud against another premier team in the NFL. You're going to dig yourself too deep of a hole and not going to be able to come back from it. So, yeah, the defense was rough, obviously. I mean, no pressure on Josh Allen. If you told me Ty Johnson was going to be one of Buffalo's best offensive players, I would have probably felt really good about that game.
I know.
But they couldn't find a way to cover anybody, get any pressure. The run defense was, I think, a major surprise because they had been doing such a great job against running backs all season long. And yesterday it looked way too easy. You know what I mean? It just looked way too easy. And I know that when you play a guy like Josh Allen, it can take you out of your rhythm a little bit. It can make you an undisciplined player when, hey, I'm supposed to be here, but if I go this way, maybe I can help a little bit. That's how you get burned. I think we saw that a bunch yesterday. And in the first 2 drives of each half offensively, 3 punts and a fumble in a time where, especially in the second half, it's like, okay, we got to go. You know what I mean? Like, we got to go. We can't come out of the halftime and let up a touchdown and then go 3 and out and then get the ball back and then fumble. And all of a sudden we're down 35-14 to that team. You know what I mean? That's not how you got to play. So, and I thought coach was right. I thought the players were right when they said, didn't seem like a lot of urgency yesterday. I don't know why that is. That's something internally they're going to have to address. But that's something I noticed too, and we kept saying it throughout the course of that game. The Bills looked like they were just playing at a different speed. They just looked faster. They looked more athletic than the Lions did, and I think that was the first time all season that I felt that the other team, just was playing at a higher level, playing at a faster pace of play, playing with more urgency, playing with more tempo. And obviously all those things added up to too deep of a hole for you to dig out of by the end. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't as close as the score. 6 point. It wasn't. It really felt like the only time they got back in that game where it's like, okay, maybe like was the 12-minute mark and then the onside kick and then
it goes the
5 seconds later, you're back down 17, and it's like, gosh, dang.
Sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way.
No.
You wouldn't expect that to happen on an onside kick, even if they know it's coming and the whole stupid kickoff rules and you got to announce it in the fourth quarter. You still wouldn't expect a guy to catch it like that.
Yeah, and take it, to the 2-yard line. But I even that call, I mean, everybody was questioning it, right? Because it's like, okay, you're still going to need a stop no matter what. But if you're Dan Campbell, I mean, had your defense stopped Buffalo from getting to midfield that entire game? I don't think they did, right? So I think in your mind you're thinking, hey, okay, if we don't get it, I mean, at least we're going to save some time, the time that it's going to take them to march from the 30 to the 50. Maybe we can save that time because we haven't stopped them yet. So, either way, we're going to probably need a stop around midfield. So if we don't get the onside kick, you're right. I mean, obviously you didn't expect them to have a big return off of that to set up a one-play touchdown.
Damn it!
Yeah, it was.
I think that was the collective,
comedy of errors.
Yeah.
Just, oh gosh, like okay, the worst possible thing that could happen
happened.
That.
Yeah,
yeah, but I don't think my confidence has changed in this team. Obviously, we can talk about how injuries aren't an excuse, but at some point it's just reality. I mean, at some point,
but then if it is reality,
so much
but then TJ,
it's a bummer.
But if it is a reality, then it is a reality beyond just Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's unfair to say that it's concerning with how many players they've lost. I'm probably going to find out today. I know those guys are going to need some testing done, but certainly didn't sound optimistic at all about
for either
Carlton
of those guys
Davis or Aleem McNeil. We know Khalil Dorsey's going to be done. I think Coach made that pretty clear. But at some point, it's reality, man. And you know what I mean? Like there's only so much I think the depth players on your team can do, especially with the caliber of players that you're losing. Your best probably your best 2 defensive linemen, your best linebacker, your best cover corner. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an excuse, but it's reality.
Aleem McNeil, and you bring up Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
And I just feel like your confidence should be shaken some from that, right? I mean, they got their ass handed to them. To your point, it wasn't as close as the score indicated. They're down 14-0 from the jump, 17 points in the fourth. They were never in it.
Yeah. But you know what? But the players, we can sit here and say, okay, was it as close as the 6-point game? Probably not. But the players, you go in there, and I know, look, you got punched in the mouth a little bit yesterday, and John, you know this. Anytime you go in on a Monday, when you watch a game like this, you look at like 1 or 2 plays. Like, man, if that would have went our way, like that game could have been different. You know what I mean? You don't go in there saying every single play we got punched in the mouth. Man, we're just getting bullied around. Maybe on defense because it felt like that. But I think the offense, which honestly, our expectations for that offense are much higher than the defense based off, I think, just the personnel that they have. I think that's fair. So the guys on offense, I know, probably go in today and just probably feel like they lost that game for the team, right? Yeah. If it's going to be a shootout, hey, we gotta help our defense out a little bit more. We can't afford all these empty possessions. We can't afford putting 2 touchdowns on the board for the first three quarters of that game. But really, when it comes down to it, it's no panic mode. You look and you say, okay, couple third downs here and there, man. Like if we just, block it up a little bit better or a little bit detailed on that route, that could be a big play in that game. So I don't think there's any panic mode when it comes, from internally in that locker room. And when you talk about the injuries, of course you're aware of it. Of course it sucks, when you're losing players of that caliber. Mm-hmm. But you got to step up. You know what I mean? Like you don't have time in the NFL to sit there and just sulk about it and just, oh man, I can't believe we lost another guy. Like it's just, guys, we got to figure it out, man. We're professionals, right? And we still, in my opinion, have I think the best top to bottom roster in the NFL. Now they're going to have to rely on a lot of guys that haven't had a ton of experience, but you're here for a reason. I think those guys have to understand that.
I was going to ask you. You can say sportsbooks don't matter. I just want your answer. Are they the favorite to win the Super Bowl today?
Probably not. I mean, you just
lost
to
them. In your mind. I'm saying forget about FanDuel or any of these. Like you, TJ Lang, are the Lions the favorite?
Do I think they're Super Bowl contenders?
No. I didn't say contender because they're.
Do you think they can, or do you think they will?
I think they can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're Super Bowl contenders. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. John is still in the will category.
I still think they will.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not going to sit here and say I expect them to because then it's like, well, if they don't win it, the season's a failure, which I don't really.
But TJ,
I don't subscribe to that either.
But a week ago, we were saying they will win the Super Bowl. They're invincible, double-digit disco.
That's like Dan Campbell saying, we will recover this onside kick. You know what I mean? Like, It's incredibly difficult to do. Do you have the talent to do it? Do you have the team to do it? When you play your style of football, yes, you do.
TJ, I'm not going to count them out.
Anything can happen, so.
Sure, I'm not going to count them out. With the way they responded when they lost Aiden Hutchinson spoke volumes, right? The fact that this team is 12-2 and they still control their own destiny, I'm not counting them out, but boy, was that sobering. Like, that was, we're sitting here partying, having a good time.
You know what? But honestly, I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing that could have happened to this team. And I heard you guys talking about it a little bit on the drive in. Like sometimes you can turn this into a positive, right? A wake-up call. Hey, guys,
I don't like the concept of that was a good loss or you needed to lose, but it's what they do with this loss. How does it shape what Aaron Glenn does when they face Minnesota at the end of the year, or when they face Philly in the playoffs, or if they face Buffalo again? Like, how do they respond to what just happened yesterday?
I don't hate that they're going through some adversity at this point of the season. You know what? I just don't hate it because I've seen Dan Campbell and I've seen this group respond.
Sharpen the tools.
When they've had some adverse moments in the past 2.5 years, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what excites me is, how are they going to come out of this game finding a way to get better and finding a way to get back on track where – all of a sudden next Monday we're sitting here saying, man, like, okay, we're back. Like, you know what I mean? Like this team's doing it. Obviously it's going to take a lot of hard work, but I have tremendous amount of faith, like all of us should, in Dan Campbell turning it back around and getting those guys back on the same page.
So just the math on Jim's Super Bowl question, though. They dropped 61% since 425 yesterday. 61%. From 270 to 440.
It was an eye-opening loss.
God, just count them out.
No,
that's not what we're doing. Hold on
right now, I'll tell you what they've done is you've got 4 teams right now that are less than plus 500 to win.
It's open.
Yeah. So they're protecting themselves with these 4 teams, and they don't think anybody else can win it.
It's a 4-horse race, and you're one of the horses still running.
I hate that odds are so much a part of this. Like, don't
tell me the odds.
Yeah, don't tell me the odds.
It's such a player's perspective.
Don't tell me the odds.